Okay, so let me do a quick recap of the previous classes that what we have studied so far. We have studied about dev and ops, that is about development and operations, where development strongly depends upon the plan, code, build and test phase, and the operations depends upon the release, deploy, operate and monitor. And in deploy phase we generally uses these two types of servers. One is the Tomcat and another one is the JT servers. So before that we also need to know about the slight knowledge on SDLC, that is the software development life cycle. So what is an SDLC? So if anyone asks us about SDLC, SDLC is nothing but a method for developing of any applications. We need to follow software development lifecycle process. It includes few steps such as planning. What is the planning? Planning is the requirement, scope of the project. Next comes the analysis phase, where the developers along with the tech leads analyze the requirement. Then comes the design phase, where we need to create a blueprint, how the app will be structured, so that it can be shown to the client. What would be the UI design? What would be the UX design? That type of this phase comes after the analysis phase. Next comes the implementation phase, where the developers work on particular applications. They write code, they checking the code to any source repository, and this way the implementation happens. Next comes the testing phase, where the testers, whoever is there, test the applications, whether there is any bugs in the code, where there is any vulnerability in the code, and it follows by unit testing, integration testing and all other testing methods that are there to make the application free from any bugs or security vulnerabilities. Next comes the deployment. When it comes to the deployment phase, first we push the application to a pre-prod or pre-production or a staging environment, where the client can undergo through some testing from their end. Maybe we can call it as an user acceptance testing, that is an UAT. Next come the maintenance of the applications. So whenever it comes to maintenance, we do it through some kind of monitoring tools. Why do we need monitoring tools? Because some it might take some resources. What kind of resources it might consume? High CPU, high CPU utilization, high memory utilization, so that we can quickly get those notification and work on those apps and fix it on priority. That's why we need a monitoring tools that comes under the maintenance of, or if there is any unexpected bug comes in the app, it the development team can quickly work on that and fix the issues on the go, or it can be released on another sprint. So this is a basic funda or basic brief about the SDLC, that is the software development lifecycle. Now we have come to DevOps. Why DevOps? Because earlier the development team and the operation teams works in isolation. They worked in separate silos. There was no such interaction between these two teams. They work independently. But to make the app to be deployed faster, we need these two terms to work in collaboration. So the main fundamental theme of DevOps is improved collaboration. With this improved collaboration, the development time, the release time, the deployment time gets faster, and it reaches to the customer on a very fast rate, we can say. And what are the benefits? Improved collaboration and shift left testing. This is also an important term, where the QA tries to write all the existing test cases before the implementation of this code. So that is shift left testing. And another approach is the automation first. We have also tried to remember the one term or mnemonics that is called as CAPS, that is improved collaboration, automation, metrics or measurement, sharing, and scalability to make the DevOps team grow together, learn together, and share together so that they can release the app faster. So this is the main fund. So next, coming to the next slide. So the tools that bridge QA and DevOps. So what are the tools that bridge the QA and the DevOps? So the tools that bridge is in CI tool, that is Jenkins, GitHub Actions, and GitLab CI. Okay. So these are the tools that bridge between QA and DevOps. Next come the testing. What are the test tools that are available? One is Selenium, one is JUnit, PyTest, Playwright, and Cypress. Coming to monitoring tools, we have Prometheus, we have Grafana, we have Nagios, we have Javix, and we have Dynatrace. In sometimes we plan it in Jira, a tool where we can create use cases, test cases, and user stories, and we can track it in the form of Kanban board. So we all know about Kanban board, and it is like a chart. This is kind of one chart with swim lanes. So what are swim lanes? These are called as swim lanes. So here is one phase. Suppose this phase may be known as yet to be started. Maybe this phase is known as yet to be started. This is in progress, and this is completed. So in this particular swim lane, the incidents or the use case or the requirement or the feature bug will be kept here, and they need to just drag it to different stages so that we can track it till completion. So Jira is one of that tool. For Git code commit, we have Git and GitHub. And for build, so build is nothing but compiling into one package. So the once compiled into package, so it would be much easier to deploy to one of the container. So this one we have also discussed about before CI, what is the traditional mechanism, what was there, and what was the after that has been implemented. In after stage, so if we just go here and let me change the color ones. So the change that has been maintained after implementing DevOps or continuous integration is this phase. What is their build, test, and deploy, and one is the poll SCM or check for changes. So if there are any changes are there, it would automatically call or poll, be it in Jenkins, so that the build or the recent build can be triggered. And once it's triggered, we can deploy it in one of the container, and we can also do it through Jenkins because Jenkins provide an additional step called as post build steps, where we can deploy it in one of the Docker container. And if there are issues that have been identified, and it can be notified through emails and everything else. So this is another chart called code checking, testing, code QA checks, build deployment, acceptance testing, and this phase needs to be automated. So this is the slide that has been depicted here. And here to give an overall overview of it, this is one kind of waterfall model and the basic of the agile model. In agile model, what is the main difference between waterfall and agile. In agile is a continuous process where one sprint that has been completed by the developers, it automatically goes to the testing phase while the developer works on another sprint. So these ways they try to maintain or reduce the development or any gaps that are present, they try to reduce it. So this is the main difference between waterfall model and agile model. So we have also discussed about Gene Kim, about his the Unicorn project, about he was a researcher, auditor, co-author of the Phoenix project, and he was the father of the DevOps storytelling. And we have also learned about flow that is focused on smooth delivery that we have already discussed over there. So this was also been discussed previous day, and I'm not going through it. And we have also tried to learn about the FFC thing, that is the flow, feedback, and communication, that we have already learned about that. And coming to the Linux part, about what we have learned about Linux, because for every tool, so such as it has been oftenly been taught to us that for a science person, mathematics is a tool where we can decode varieties of laws and everything. In computer science, in our language, Linux, Python, these tools help us to explore more deeper so that we can get the flavors out of it. So what happened in the early 1980s, Andrew S. Tannerbaum developed a small or educational purpose operating system, we can say, that is called as Minix, means mini Unix. After it came, why he created that? Because in those time Unix was closed source, means the source code was not openly found in the repositories, and it was commercial. But Andrew S. Tannerbaum was a Dutch professor, and he wants to give a test of the operating system. He developed this OS so that he can show to his students how an OS works. That's why he created this Minix. Now, as inspired by this, the creator of Linux, that is Mr. Linus Torvalds, created Linux. But in our Linux is based on monolithic architecture, and Minix was based on microkernel architecture. So what is the difference between monolithic and microkernel? The difference between monolithic and microkernel is we can define through one example. That is, in monolithic, we can think of like that. Okay, okay. So there was, I think, some network issues. No worries. So what happens in monolithic architecture? We can depict it through an example where think of an orchestra where all the musicians are playing the notes that was have been indicated by the orchestrator or the main person who is just giving the instructions. So if one of the musicians plays a wrong note, the whole tune can break. Similar in case of monolithic architecture, because all the code spaces and the services existed in one single space. And if any of the thing gets broken, the OS completely crashes. But in microkernel architecture, the critical services exist in one space and the code space is existed certain areas. So this is the minute difference between microkernel and monolithic architecture. Now there is a question that what is a kernel? So we all know that kernel is not an operating system. This is one of the boss or the managers or in software applications that bridges between the hardware and the user application or the software. So this is the main concept of the kernel. So this was the architecture we discussed previous day about monolithic, microkernel, hybrid, nanokernel and exokernel. Now today we will learn more about Linux, about mastering Linux. So what we will learn in this class is about the Unix project. So what we learned previous about in the early 1980s, Andrew S. Tenenbaum, a Dutch professor who created a operating system to show to his students called Minix. But today we will learn about Unix project. So just remember this timeline. I think it would be helpful for you. So let me change the brush color. So in 1964, what happened? Bell Laboratories. Just remember this, the Bell Laboratories, and it New Jersey. Next, in 1969, they withdrew the project. After that, Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson started working on this project, and they developed something called as Unix. So, what is the full form of Unix? Sujato, can you answer this? What is the full form of Unix? This one?
No.
Okay. So, this is called as uniplexed. Uniplexed information and computing services and computing services, and it was free. So in the 1975 a version came to the market which is called as Unix version 6 and become quite popular. So here we are learning about Unix. So there are varieties of flavors of Unix. So, can you name one or two? What are various flavors of Unix? Because there are multiple things or multiple stories that is going through it. So, can you let me know that any flavors of Unix?
Unix.
Yes, Unix.
Mm, Two brothers created Unix. I know that.
Yes, what I told that in 1969, after 1969, Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson started working on that project,
Yes.
and they developed something called as Unix. This is UNICS,
Yes.
Uniplex Information and Computing Services. But in the year 1975, a different version 6 came into the market, and it became quite popular. So there are multiple flavors of Unix that are available at that time as well. So can you name a two? And one of the example is very commonly used, a flavor of Unix.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so just to give you an idea, have you like the Mac OS that is commonly in the market?
Yes.
So that is an Unix, right? That is not
Yes.
completely Linux. This is an Unix. So what are the flavors of the that are available in the market? Is IBM AIX, Sun Solaris, Mac OS, HP UX, and Linux is also can be considered as the flavor of Unix, but the story is different, and I have told you the story and what inspired Linus Torvalds to.
Sunwest, I think Sunwest Solaris. Am
Yes,
I
yes,
right? IBM
yes, yeah.
LX.
Sun Solaris, IBM AIX, and Mac OS.
Okay, I think it is in the 1980s, if I am not wrong.
In the 1980s, that was inspired. The Minix came into picture, but I'm not talking about Minix right now. So that was around that time. Uh, you will be shocked to know that in the year 1991, when Linus Torvalds wants to work on the Unix for his research, the Unix was then priced as $5,000. So it was quite like pricey that time. Okay, so now let me tell you that what was the project they were working on. So as I said that in the beginning in the year 1964 when it started about Bell Laboratories in New Jersey, Bell Labs along with the MIT and General Electric began working on a project called as Multics. Remember this Multics. 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 So what is Multics? Multics is multiplex information and computing service to create a multi-user. So why Multics? Multi-user time sharing operating system. So this was the thing at that time, and they withdrawn the project because it was resource intensive and quite complex. And around the year 1969, after 1969, it comes to like Unix, where Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie decided to work on this project independently. They develop a simpler version which is called as Unix, Uniplexed computing and information and computing services rather. And later this Unix was changed to Unix. So this was the complete story about this. And about the Unix variants that I am talking about. So Unix variants is IBM AIX, then Mac OS, then HP UX, Sun Solaris. So these are the quite or the flavors of the Unix that came into the market. So this is the complete story about Unix. So so this was the complete story about the Unix. Now, any question till this point, and I hope you have got a clear picture of about Linux and Unix, right?
Yes,
Okay. Now it would be a good to know about at that time there was a movement going on. Around which time the movement was going on? 1991 to 1995. What was this movement? This movement was free software movement. Okay, free software movement. Around this time, there was an movement going on a protest going on. You can say around that time about the free software movement around the year 1991 to 1995. At that time, there was something called as Linux, which is basically a kernel, came into the market. Now, in my previous class, I have told you that Linux is not an operating system. Linux is a kernel, right? So, what can be included into Linux that can be said as operating system? Always remember this. Linux, if I add the GNU is simple, GNU is not Unix, equals to OS. And what is GNU? This is the collection of software. And Linux is a kernel. Now, the reason why I'm saying this history of Linux and Unix, because this is our tool. This is the language that we will be working on. This is the scripting side we will be working on. And so we need to know about this history. Without history, without that motivation, we will be not able to grasp it clearly. Okay, so that's why we need to know about the timelines, what happened, and what happened after what we need to know. Now let me go to next thing. Okay, so there is a question again, question to you, so make it interactive. So Linux, okay, so what are the various uh, maybe we can say,
Sampad, I have a question.
yes, yes, please, please, please.
Uh, we all know that Windows is paid version available. I mean that Windows original version is paid.
Yes, yes, correct.
Most of the OS original are paid, but
Yes,
Linux is open source and free.
yes.
So my question is, how could Linux makes its profit?
Okay, this is a very good question, that how Linux marks its profit. So there is one thing I would like to say, that there are many kind of developers like us in around the whole worldwide. Okay, so they used to contribute something to the repository without any cost. They used to contribute some kind of package into the repository without any cost to make it free. And if someone willing to wants to donate, they can donate to make that Linux free throughout the lifetime. They are also trying. And you are saying that how Linux makes it profit. So have you heard about Red Hat Enterprise Linux?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know that Enterprise Linux is it is a paid version? Linux is
No,
a
I don't know.
okay. Red Hat Enterprise Linux that we do have, it is a paid version too, and mostly all the enterprises used to purchase Linux, that rail version, with some license cost. Why? Where is the license cost involved? Because they provide some kind of what is called as customer support to its clients. What kind of customer support? If there are any issue on the operating side, if they want to some need some kind of enhancement, they reach out the rail customer support where they can provide the support. So that's why I said that Red Hat's Enterprise Linux often charges for its subscription and support. Do you got it? And otherwise, they makes it profits by certification and trainings as well. We can say, and nothing else, nothing else, nothing outside of this. So if I just want to write here what we can think about uh, client support, 24 into against the client support. Next is we can say education and training purpose, education, training, maybe certification. cloud services, and cloud services because they provide through hosting. Yeah, and last one but not on the list that I said about the donations and sponsorships. Is it clear to you?
Yes, now clear.
Okay, okay, great. So there are different kind of Linux we commonly used. So one is called as RHEL, that is Red Hat Enterprise Linux. One is Fedora. One is, we can say, Debian, and the others we can say as we can make it as others like others is like Ubuntu, CentOS, Kali Linux, Amazon Linux. Okay, one short thing that you can also learn. This is a short fact. Do you know what is mean by Ubuntu?
Ubuntu is a Linux version. I mean, like Rail, Fedora, Debian, CentOS.
Yes, yes, that is absolutely fine. But what is the meaning of Ubuntu?
No, I don't know what is the meaning
Okay,
of Ubuntu.
so this is a short fact. Might be a trivia for you. In African language, in African, Ubuntu means teamwork. In Africa, it means teamwork. So this is all. So that is all about the timelines, about the multics, Unix, and whatever we have said. Now comes to a very important thing that the operating system. This can be CLI based, this can be GUI based, right? Full form of CLI is command line interface, GUI means graphical user interface. Now, again, some recapitulation. Linux is a kernel, not an operating system. Second thing, Linux is not an Unix derivative. Linux is not an Unix derivative, but it was written from scratch. Always remember this. A Linux distribution, a Linux distribution is the Linux kernel. And if I add the GNU, that is the setup softwares, it becomes an OS. What are the features of Linux? And we all know that open source features, secure, lightweight, multi-user, and multitask. Now we have learned about the features of Linux, but the question still comes into our mind that then what is the difference between the Windows operating system and the Linux operating system? So there is a one simple diagram and a block diagram that is available with me, and if I show it to you, it would be much more clear. So for Windows, if I consider this part as hardware, then there is a one layer that is called the OS layer. Then comes the shell layer, and next comes the users layer. So this one is the for Windows. So hardware, then the operating system, then the shell, then the users. In Linux, the same thing happens. This is the hardware. Next comes the kernel. Next comes the shell. Next come the users. So this is for Linux. So that is how it works. Okay. There is one thing also we you can know, but it's just you can remember the name. Nothing else is required. Just a small information about CentOS. That is the community enterprise or community operating system, I believe. So in the year 2004 maybe or some around this time, Craig Kutzler, something like this name, have this Red Hat OS, and this one about the CentOS around the year 2014. And CentOS is the Community Enterprise Operating System. Community Enterprise Operating System. So this is all about history of the Linux. Nothing I will be mm, showing much about more history about this, because we will be now moving on to complete hands-on, so that it is much interactive and much easy to learn. So that's why we'll move to the hands-on. Okay, so let me keep all the annotations. Before moving to hands-on, could you kindly confirm that if it's understandable to you or not?
Yes, it's understandable.
Okay. Just try to remember the timeline, nothing for much details, but around 1964, that is, and the time you can remember. You can know more about Greg Kurtzer, because in all the enterprises that we have, they generally use the Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, all the community enterprise or the MNCs or the enterprise that is in Indian market or as well overseas market uses RHEL, and you
Okay.
can, yes. So that's the thing we have discussed. Now coming to this, I have some version. Okay, the version that you are able to see here is the.
I have a question regarding Linux.
Okay, sure, please.
Sampath, that I am learning about Linux. Am I right?
Yes.
So in the Linux, you are trying to teach me as a Linux administration. Am I right?
Yes. So this is one of the
So
basic.
being
Yeah. Let me
in,
give you an purposeful reason for this. Okay. Why do we need to learn Linux? And it's much prerequisite in
no, no,
our.
no. My question is
Yes.
different.
Yeah, okay. Let me know from you. Tell me.
Okay. That if I will do Linux system administration, so I have to know CentOS, Ubuntu, Fedora, all of the thing, or any of them if I have to know.
Okay, it's a good question. See, for the operating systems like the Red Hat one, and which mimic similar behavior, because CentOS and Red Hat Enterprise Linux are both the same, but they have some concept called as upstream updates and downstream. You can learn it from internet as well, but there is some concept that's upstream and downstream in CentOS and Rail. The first the updates are launched in CentOS, then it gets lined up around the Red Hat Enterprise. So
No,
this mimics
actual.
similar behavior. Okay, let me finish first. This
Okay.
mimics similar behavior. So, and another tool that you can learn of in Debian flavor is Ubuntu. If you mastered these two Linux, okay, because they're basically same, only the package manager differs or the package name differs. In Red Hat, we will using RPM-QA or the Red Hat Package Manager, and in Ubuntu, we'll be using apt-get, Advanced Package Toolkit, and in Rail or CentOS, we will using Yum and CentOS. Okay, so this is the main difference between the two. And if you try to learn these two variants, one is the CentOS or the CentOS one and one Ubuntu one, you are good to go. No one can stop you. And I'm pretty sure about it. Yeah, you can let me know now.
Mm, I forget actually what should I have to ask.
You are
Okay,
something.
if
Yeah.
okay, if I will get, then I will
Okay, no worries. No worries.
via phone or via message, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Sure. No worries around that. Okay, so I have been logged in as an root user. So let me show you some basic commands. You already know this. So how to check the present working directory is simply the pwd,
PWD.
and there is one command called as
Who
where
am
my,
I?
and if you want to know where my Python is located, how will you check?
Grep command. Grep Python 3. ls hyphen ef pipe sign grep Python 3.
Okay, so but if I say that if I do an ls here, I can see only one file. Then how?
ps hyphen ef. Sorry, I told the wrong command. ps hyphen ef.
Tell me once again.
ps hyphen ef.
This one is the process. PS means process.
Yes.
So, but
Yes.
PS minus EF, if I just like you want to do like this,
Yes. Python 3. Yes.
this
For my
what?
system, it is Python 3.
Yeah. So you want to show like this, right? Python 3.
Yes.
There is this is the process that is getting run in the backend. There is one simple command that is already there by given by the system, that is called where is command. Where is Python, and it will give you the
Okay.
and it will
It
give
will
you this.
give the full path.
Yes, it will give you the suggestive matches and where that file is already located. So this is a very useful command. Okay.
Sampath, I have a question regarding that.
Okay.
So in the VS Code, we are getting the facility of AI. If I am not wrong, that like in the VS Code Copilot, all of the
Yes.
things, Amazon Q. So in
Yes.
the CLI, we can't get it. Any AI like
Okay.
suggestion that you are typing where is where. if I type WH, that time we are getting the facility of
Yes,
AI in the
yes.
VS Code.
There are some kind of co-pilot packages available, I guess. I'm not. I didn't tried it, but yes, some package is available. Of course, the package is available. Even if you want, you can do some kind of. There is package available. Co-pilot, I think. Co-pilot package is available.
Yeah, yesterday was studying about that AI in the CLI. So that's why I'm asking you that I never implemented that. So did you implement it anytime in the CLI AI with CLI?
No, we currently didn't implemented the CLI in the command line interface because it's an in organization they are much more worried about data privacy and security. Okay, so they don't allows us to implement any kind of AI tools in the shell because it can
Okay.
directly correlate in the operating system files and folders, and it can steal data. And European clients, they often may sue that organization into court as per the breach in the GDPR, that is the Data Regulation Act they have. So it's,
Okay.
you can use it in for your test environment, but never use it in the shell approval until and unless you get prior approval or signed email from client that you are good to go with the installation of particular tool. Okay, and there is one another good thing we do have is that is called as mlocate. Have you heard about this term mlocate?
No.
This is one of the applications you can say, and it is can be installed by simply like this: yum install mlocate hyphen y, that is yes flag, means I do not want to get that prompt to enter yes or no. Okay, so currently it's not available. It's unable to find a match, so let me try with DNF once.
DNF.
No, it is not able to find mlocate as well. But there is one command called as mlocate. Okay, and it helps us to find the particular file, and it is can be done using find command. But yes, we can also can do it through the mlocate command. After that, we need to just write the update db. Okay, so this is the simple commands that I am showing you. And there is another thing called as time date ctl. Have you heard about this time date ctl?
Yes.
What it does?
It is showing the time with date and current location, I think.
Not the current location, it helps us to show us the time zone as So we will be learning about Dracut mode or the emergency shell mode. It's been booted, so let me restart again here. I just need to get to that prompt, boot prompt. So let us. Okay. So here I have again launched this grub version, that is the grandified unified bootloader. I will also let you know about more this on details. So I just need to go to this point and I need to just write some command. What is the command? rd.break, or you can just remove RAGP and quiet as well for it was used for the quiet mode without any logs or without any logins. So I will just write here rd.break and enforcing equals to 0. Enforcing equals to 0. I have written this two line rd.break and enforcing equals to 0. What happens when the system tries to boot to operating system, where it encounters the rd.break, it breaks the process to be process control to be transferred to the system D. So what is system D? System D is the system daemon process, and we will able to launch in an emergency shell mode or a Dracut mode. This is also very important. So let me again write Control X. And as you can see that I have removed RAGP and quiet, I am able to get the complete logs from here. What is the steps that has been performed? Okay. See here, it's showing something called as Dracut mode. Can you see that? Starting Dracut emergency service, Dracut emergency shell.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so here what I can do, I can just write it asking for me the root password. So let me give. So I have been logged in as a emergency mode. So this is one type of safe mode, you can say. If you want to investigate something, you can investigate on this. So the basic commands. Sujato,
Yes.
any question up to till this point?
No, I am just asking one thing, that why should we use that Dracula
No,
emergency
no,
call
no. It's
service?
it's, it's Dracut.
Dracut, sorry.
Yes. So Dracut mode is an emergency shell mode. So what happens? Like before it gets transferred to the original operating system or the system D takes over, we use this Dracut mode. Okay. So Dracut mode is some kind of emergency mode that here nothing works actually. Here the root file system can't be mounted, but here you can create the init RAM file system. What is the initial RAM file system? It's just like an image that contains the basic drivers and tools. That is the Dracut mode, and it's kind of save mode, something like that. That you can sometimes we may have to log into this Dracut mode using rd.break and enforcing equals to 0. So if somebody asks in the interview that what is the usage of Dracut mode, it is being generally asked. So you can say that to create an init RAM file system with basic drivers and tools. So this is the basic thing out of it. Got it my
Okay.
point?
Yes.
Okay. So there is no else up to this point. Now let me power it off. Now there is one important thing that I want to show you. After that, we can conclude today's class.
Okay.
Yes. Have you heard about anaconda.ks?
Yes, heard about, but not knowing too much about it.
Like, what did you heard about? Like, what it
Just
is.
only the name.
Okay, so Anaconda is not related with Python or something.
Yes,
It's
I remember little bit. It stored the file backup. I mean, like a kind of recycle bin.
no, not like that. Exactly not like that. So let me tell you, it's kind of a Kickstart file. Okay, what is in Kickstart file? Like here we keep all the information here. Then why? What we need to do? Suppose here I have written that language is English, US, UTF-8 is a decoding, keyboard is US, create an user named CentOS with password change me 123 and add that user to wheel, add one network, this one as this. So if I just write here, you can modify obviously here. If I just write your name, okay, it's TRO or TO,
TRO.
okay, something like that. And here is the root password, and it is you can generate using OpenSSL password -6, and I think it's the same as change me 123 as well. And here is the authorization config. Auth config enable shadow means enable the shadow file path system as time, set the time zone as Asia Kolkata, bootloader is this, create and location MBR with boot drive SDA. Clear part means to clean all the partitions in the initial level, and auto part type goes to LVM. This is the logical volume management. This the partition will be self automatic by the system, whatever they want. And these are the code packages to be installed and everything like this. So what I need to do, this is stored in CDC Kickstart. Okay, so here I am. So I just run one Python command, Python 3. Okay, Python 3 http.server. Sorry, my bad. Okay, if I run this, it will automatically run an HTTP server with port 8000. And if I just go to my browser, and if I just also open my CMD, and if I just write ipconfig, and check my wireless adapter. So this is my IPv4 address. And if I just go here at 8000, so here you can see that I have gotten directory listing, means this path has been provided by my uh, acting as an HTTPS server. And but I need this file anaconda.ks. So what happens if somebody asks you, hi Sujatro, just help me to build a new server with the parameters for an existing VM. So what you can do, just do here file new virtual machine. I'm just showing like this. Just go to a next, and you can just a minimal version. Let me select CentOS 7 here. Click on next, just give a name, maybe CentOS bit case, that is for Kickstart. Next, uh, give it as 10 GB or 10 GB. Click on next. I can source in the disk file. Next, finish. So this one is the HD level is boot from install. The stage 2 is the install from there. CentOS, it will quite here. I can just write install.ks equals to http 192.168.1.9 8000, then anaconda.ks. Now press enter. Okay. See, did I did anything? I didn't set the root password. I didn't select the user creation. I didn't select the US and everything. It is automatically starting the installation. So this is the function of an Kickstart file. So you doesn't need to provide anything to the operating system or the installer. It will check or the fetch all the features or the instruction on the Kickstart file, and it will start installing. So this is the function of an installer. See, root password is set, administrator CentOS will be created. I didn't did anything, but as I showed you in the previous screen, that whenever we get this prompt, it would ask me to select the region, it would ask me to select the keyboard, the partitioning and everything. But here it's automatically installing everything, fetching from this file, and you can see get all the get request is coming from here. See, 200 requests means status is okay. So this is the beauty of the Kickstart file basically.
Basically, Anaconda.
Sorry.
Anaconda.case.
Anaconda.ks, that is basically this file. It's automatically taking from here. Even you can also read allowed it to boot from here as well. So what you need to do, in there is one screen written as install means inst dot stage 2 equals to hd level. There was, I showed you, I think I was telling that it is an hd level means boot from hard disk. But
Hmm.
here at the same portion, if you just mention and another repository or another url to boot from, it would try to boot from that particular location, such as I have this CentOS here and it is a directory listing, and if you just provide this path over there, it would try to communicate over there and try to install this. Got my point, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. I think that's all for now. Let me stop the recording.